For the Witcher, brave and bold, paid in coin of gold.
Here it is. Finally, my final verdict, my full review, spoilers and all, The Witcher 3. Yeah, it's like 3.5 months late. Sorry. I have like 12 gig of gameplay footage to go through, and it's so daunting. So Witcher 3 is a game that got 9s and 10s, everybody's like, oh, I love it, love it, and then I did a big video, 10,000 views, 10,000 strong will seize the day. And I'm like, this game sucks, I'm not impressed by this game. So here I am, I finished the game over, shit, did I write down how many hours? It was like 90 or 100 hours total. That's more for my own OCD's sake than your benefit. I didn't look up who directed it either. I'll add their name here. Power of editing. So I've divided this into some categories, and other than that, we're not gonna have much. I'm not gonna string into from one thing into the next. I'm just gonna go. All right, so here it is. I feel like we should start with the graphics. I was awful harsh in the last video. I take some of that back. The Skyrim trees look way worse. It is a pretty game. It's a pretty game. It's at times a beautiful game. It's just not pushing the bounds of the PS4 like everybody says it was. Like I said, the wind effect is good. The rain effect is not. Stand by most everything else I said in the original video. Even now, even after patch 1.07, frame rate drops all around the place. You cannot keep a stable frame rate. Lighting is great. Lighting's gorgeous. Textures are pretty good too. It's the trees, I don't like how they look up close. I don't like the trees and the bushes. Everything else is great. Oh, and the animations too, they're really wonky. So whenever Geralt's in a conversation, he'll like come down, I guess I could just play the clip. He'll like come down like this on one arm, or he'll go like that a lot, and it's like they reuse the same animations way too many times. And this, alright, so apparently they recorded 16 hours of motion capture sex for the sex scenes, which must have been really awkward. But it didn't work, because there's some of the wonkiest looking sex animations that don't look the least bit realistic. And the expressions on people's faces, they don't look like they're enjoying themselves. It's all like... And Yennefer's just... And in terms of sex and nudity, what's weird is my parents would never let me play Grand Theft Auto, because that was like, that's the staple game. That's one parents hear about, of oh, sex and nudity and horrible, you kill civilians, that's a terrible, evil game. Whereas The Witcher 3 is probably a lot worse in terms of graphic content. Halo 3 should be an E10T. Witcher 3 is a hard M. You got your F words, you got your bloody intestine violence, and you got your boobs everywhere. If I may comment on the nudity real quick, there's a bathhouse scene, like in the bathhouse. What's weird is like, alright, I feel like co-ed bathhouses, like whatever, you're gonna be in the water naked, that makes sense, okay? But what doesn't make sense is when they're naked outside the water, and they have towels wrapped around them in the water. Like, that makes zero sense. And they're always wearing, like, little bottoms. Everybody goes topless, and they just wear, like, little bottoms, but people are wearing towels in the water. That's so stupid. The nudity's also very one-sided. It's always female. Like, I kind of wanted to see Geralt's dong, to be honest. I don't know. He's the womanizer. Like, it must be super impressive since you're getting so many girls. Let's have a gander. 5 minutes, oh man. Alright, we're gonna be here a while. Let's tackle my biggest problem. Let's tackle the combat next. Shut up, I'm making a video! No! So whenever people claim like, oh, it's tactical combat, you have to be prepared ahead of time, that's bullshit. Granted, I played on difficulty 2 or 4, but if jumping to difficulty 3 magically changes all the game mechanics, that's stupid. Like I said in my Let's Play video, which you can watch on my channel. So you equip sword oils on your sword, and they do like plus 0.01 extra damage. And you can't know which one to equip until you see the monster. And when you see the monster, you're now in combat. And you can't equip oils during combat. And yes, it's a clunky, delayed, unresponsive mess. Trying to steer Geralt is like driving a bus, and trying to steal the horse is like steering a train. That was what made me all mad at the game. It was like, alright, you can say the combat doesn't bother you. I'd say you're an idiot, but you could say that. But to not even mention it is bad games journalism. You should all be fired. Give me your jobs. And Vince Ingenito said something in the IGN review. He called it responsive. He called it responsive. Listen to that. Listen to that prick talk on that video. This will probably ruin my chances of ever getting a job at IGN, but oh well. Which was the dream at one point. There's a weird soft lock-on that makes it hard to steer and swing the way you want to. And the lock-on itself, you can't move it to the enemies in front of you as well as you'd like to be able to. And the combat itself, it's a spam fest. It's a spam fest. Someone's like, oh, try spamming X against a group of harpies. And I'm like, that's what I do. And it works really good. So you have a light attack, and you have a strong attack, and then you have a block, and then you have a dodge, and then you have a counter. So how that should work is blocks should be effective against light attacks, and a strong attack should break the block. So that's when you should have to dodge. This is really evident in fist fights, when you don't have any of your magic or potions or anything. But sometimes light attacks break the guard, and sometimes hard attacks don't break the guard. It's complete random, and it's stupid, and it's poorly designed, and it's a mess! So you should have to dodge or counter the heavy attack instead of blocking. That would be sensical combat, right? So here was the big thing. This is going to be the deciding factor of my review. Patch 1.07. Does it fix the shitty combat? No, it doesn't. There's an alternate move response, so you can go in the options menu and you can, like, change it. It's like, oh, alternate, but the fact is, like, we don't want people to be forced to change on people. It's like, if you really think the original movement is better than the new movement, you're gay. You're dumb. That's what I meant to say. Yes, it is better. It is definitely better. Geralt steers faster. There's still a delay, but it's the delay from the controller. It's not the delay of actually Geralt turning. He turns much better. He still can't do a full... Alright, here's a good test of accurate, responsive movement. Take any video game, any third-person action game. It wouldn't work with shooters because it's over the shoulder, and that's not what it's for. And move the movement stick around in a circle as fast as you can. If your character spins without, like, stopping and going around, that's responsive movement. If they don't, like they does in The Witcher, you can't do that in The Witcher because it's shitty movement. So how to master The Witcher. Spam X or triangle, doesn't matter, the same thing, with the occasional Ard Blast and the occasional dodge, and that's it. That's all you have to do. And then drink swallow. Oh my god, emotions. Alright, let's do UI, which stands for user interface, I assume. I wrote this actually a while ago. So the fact that you can get overburdened at all is stupid. I've hated that in every video game. It's just pain. It's just more pain for the player. Crafting. And so I was talking about the swallows. Like, so the potions, you can't, like, make more potions to prepare. You get a maximum of 3 potions for the health. And when you use them, they're gone, you're screwed. Until you can get a way to meditate, which automatically replenishes your health and your potions. So you don't have to buy any of your potions back. It's so stupid. It's terrible. And it heals you super ass slowly over time when you're getting hit with, like, these... And the crafting. Oh my god, the crafting. Oh my god, the crafting. You want to upgrade your potions, or you want to get a new set of armor. What you need a diagram. You need to find somewhere in the world, there's one place where that diagram is, and you have to get it. And then, you have to collect these ingredients for it. And then, you have to find somebody who's capable of making that level of a thing, and then you have to pay them to make it. You don't just open a chest and find loot that you can use right away. That's so much more satisfying. You want to improve the game, just get rid of the damn diagrams. They're shit, no one likes them. The diagrams are... I gotta need a word that isn't stupid or dumb. I had a score in mind for this game, but the more I read this and the more I'm getting angry, and I want to drag that score down and down and down. And so crafting works when you're in the menus, so you can, like, dismantle, like, so there's like a silver ingot that turns into a unrefined silver ingot, and then into silver ore, and then into raw silver ore, and then into silver dust, and then all that, and then plates. So you have to, like, go through your inventory, dismantle things, and then assemble things before why are there so many versions of one piece of metal? And if the guy has them in his shop, can you not make us go looking through it? And if I could dismantle things, could you just be like, alright, do I have the things on me to make this? Like, yes, you'll lose this because you have to dismantle it, and you'll have to buy this from the merchant. That's all accumulated and for you. Here's the total cost. We did it for you. Thank you, game. That was convenient. That didn't negatively influence my experience at all. And for some reason, you can't have more than one quest equipped at a time. So it's like in Skyrim, you had all these arrows, and you're like, okay, I'll draw a map to most effective way to knock out all these arrows. Whereas in Witcher, you just have to memorize where everything is. Oh, and the map! While we're speaking on the map, the mini-map in towns shows little merchant bags. That's it. It doesn't show blacksmiths aren't on the map, herbalists aren't on the map, haircuttery people aren't on the map. The mini-map is glitchy as shit. You have to wander around the whole town trying to find the blacksmith, and you can't zoom out the map like when you zoom out, and then it goes to the world map, and then you can't zoom out like to a max and actually see everything. Because you have the maximum zoom out is like this big, and then you have to try to drag it across the thing trying to find the damn quest marker. It's so shitty design. It's like, I want to know who is in charge of this. I want to know who got paid to design that after all these other great masterpieces of games that we have all throughout history showing you how to properly do things. There was a dumb part where you're collecting people for the final mission. That, like, you ask like this Scottish girl, Ciri. She's like a Viking, and you do a quest for her, and she's like, "Oh yes, I'll help." So she's like, "Yes, she's on my team. She's gonna help." And then you do another quest for somebody else that makes her queen, and now she can't help anymore. That was dumb. We'll tackle glitches, and then we'll get to story, and then we'll be done. Gwent? Oh yeah, by the way, Gwent's really fun. I like Gwent. That was the only reason I considered keeping. Is like, I really need an online version of Gwent. Gwent is great. At first, it seems like bullshit. You're just like, duh, whoever has the most powerful cards wins, which is true. So you need to buy every single card you find at a shop until you can start getting Scorch cards and, the horn cards that like upgrade your everybody in a level ×2. You have to decide which order to use cards in so as to not, because if you don't want to put too many of your powerful cards on the field, because then they'll just scorch them. It is a strategic, good card game, but the top 6th of the board is cut off the screen and it causes the game to crash. Angry Joe did one thing. Angry Joe did one thing right in his review, and it's these mother-f***ing candles. If I try to explain why the candles are worse than Nazis, I'm gonna get too mad. I'm gonna hit a meter. If you dare defend those candles, we'll take the same thing as in my other video. I'll just delete the comment. All my cares will be gone. I'll pretend you never even made the comment. I'll just delete it. Don't try to defend the candles or the unresponsive comment. Just don't. And Geralt constantly sheathes his sword during combat for no reason. And combat itself restricts movement, so you can't climb over things while you're in like combat mode. All the controls are different. The movement is different in combat. You have a different set of controls in combat than you do. It's bad. It's bad. The final component of my Witcher 3 review is the story. Like I said, the characters and the acting are top notch. It's the only part of this game that shines. It glows. It's really damn good. Which tells me that this should have been a video game. This should have been a miniseries. I just want to see Ciri, Yennefer, Geralt, and Triss talk. That's what I want to see. I want to watch them talking about their morning for an hour. That would be so much more entertaining than this game. Just like the story itself is really chatty. There's lots of dialogue and not like a lot of action. The story isn't really an action story. It's a drama story. Except that but the side quest, everybody's like, oh, the side quests are so good. So the story's like, the actual side quest with helping out with Dandelion and his play and finding a king in Skellige, those are the side quests. The Witcher contracts, I think that's what people mean when they say side quests. That's like, oh, you go into some, those are all the same. You go into a house, you look everything with your Witcher magic Batman detective mode, and then you follow a trail, and then you kill something with the game's shit combat. I do not appreciate the storybook style narration with Dandelion just in the game at all. I'd like to do some kind of character study on Geralt. I'd declare Geralt a good character. I want him to be remembered because he's awesome.
This basilisk is interesting because it looks exactly like a wyvern. Young one. And ill-fed at that.
You talk nonsense, sir. This here's the most truest of basilisks.
Right, what do I know? I'm just a witcher. You smell wonderful.
Geralt, we're at a funeral.
You smell wonderful at this funeral.
We'll talk when you get here, all right?
That's Yen. Charming as ever. Come on, someone wants to meet you. Alas, no monster do I see or hear. Perhaps midst the guests he hides, in fear.
The structure of the story is like 3/4 of the game builds up to finding Ciri. It's like, alright, we found Ciri, now we gotta defend her. Here come the Nazgul Black Frost Riders. They're gonna come take her away. And there's this big climactic fight, which is actually pretty underwhelming. And we hold them off, and Vesemir dies, which everybody was like, oh my god. And it's like, sure, Vesemir was okay, but like, I thought they'd all die. That was, like, not at all, like, oh my god, they killed Vesemir. And then the story's like, alright, and they're like, we did it. We defended him. Now the game's over. Here are the credits. At least that's what it should have been, because the game goes on for another 5 hours. You clearly should have ended the game at that battle. Now, while I didn't mind it going on because I love Ciri. Ciri's like 22, by the way, so it's totally okay to drool over her, which is probably what I'm about to do. She's really hot. She's awesome. I love Ciri. She's great. She's number 3 behind my wife.
Been through a lot, eh? Got some nasty, fresh-looking scars.
What's this? Did you undress me?
I had no choice. Soaked through you were, and I had to see if you had any wounds that needed tending.
Mm-hmm. And if my breasts needed smearing with fox tallow?
Nay, that was Mum and Sis. I'd never dare. I swear. On my honor.
Easy. I believe you.
So it's really great to see Geralt and Ciri going and doing things together and just having dialogue. But dialogues that I really, really wanted was between Triss and Yennefer, because they were best friends, and when Geralt lost his memory, he was banging Yennefer, and then he banged Triss, because he completely forgot about Yennefer because of memory thing. But then the two of them are together. It's like, I know girls, I think, sort of. Like, I've seen girls react. That is not how they'd act. They'd be butting heads like crazy. They would not get along. They'd be trying to kill each other. So I needed to see them resolve that conflict. I wanted to see the three of them all talk it over and make up. And like, we're all good. We all love each other. I romance Yennefer, of course, because that's who. And that was the thing. When he's on the little snow hill on the ship with Yennefer and it's playing the love music, doon, 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 doon.
Maybe we ought to test a few other things. Amos's cabin looked cozy.
Not so fast, Geralt. We'll have plenty of time to visit cozy cabins later. But I doubt the world will end if we sit here a while. My, it's lovely.
I'm like, aw, that was sweet. I love Yennefer too. So there's a few different variations of the ending in The Witcher for each character in each part. So it's like who ends up winning the war between Temeria and Nilfgaard, and who ends up on the throne, and who ends up in charge, and what Geralt ends up doing, and who he ends up with. But people use this as an excuse to defend Until Dawn. It's like, oh, there's many different endings, and like, well, that didn't save that terrible game. I feel it's nice here. Like, it's nice. It's not something I would put on the box as a additional thing to get people to buy it. It's nice. There isn't really a bad ending, though. I mean, they keep trying to make you think Ciri dies, and she doesn't actually. No one ends up screwed over. I mean, really, it doesn't matter. The only negative thing is that lots of people end up dying, and whoever ends up on the throne, that's the thing. It doesn't really seem to matter who ends up in charge. Lots of non-humans are just murdered in droves, as Down the Line says. And I like that because it's a whole, like, Nazis hunting the Jews. It's a very mature thing. The ending I got, and that I was happy with, was that Geralt and Ciri end up, like, together, and then they witch her around, so he's teaching her, he's mentoring her for a while, and then Ciri goes off to witch her on her own, and Geralt and settles in a house with Yennefer someplace, and I thought that's nice. It's good closure for Geralt and Yennefer, but it's told in a dumb storybook, down the line narration thing again. I hate that. Just show the cutscenes, for goodness sakes. And that could lead in well to a Witcher 4, or a spin-off, The Witcheress, where you play a Ciri, and she's got her own quest line that's going on, and there's one part where she's like, oh man, she's like badly surrounded, and then Geralt just comes and like murders everybody, and he's like, sorry, I've been in retirement for a while. Had to let that all out. I also wish that siding with Yennefer didn't mean you completely screwed over Triss, and like, they can still be friends. Yennefer gets the kisses, Triss gets the hugs. I think the four of them can be one big happy family. But at the big end battle, Nilfgaard and Skellige are like working together to fight the Wild Hunt, and I have no idea why, because Nilfgaard came here to invade Skellige, and the end of the game they just dropped it, like, okay, we're sorry, we're going home. That was dumb. One more negative thing, look at the spine. Look at the font of The Witcher on the spine of the box. And the free DLC that everybody's getting all happy at CD Projekt Red for was like, oh, finally a developer who isn't trying to screw us over with money. It's like, no, that's not DLC. That's single look. They took one set of armor, one alternate outfit, one quest line. Those should have been in the game anyway, and the fact that they just released it a little late is whatever. I mean, it's a pretty big game, so I'm not getting mad at them for not having enough content, but it's not DLC. It's not. In fact, the beard and hairstyling set, what you had to add in for DLC, had way less options than Skyrim came with in the box. Their actual DLC coming up is actually supposed to be, like, ridiculously huge, and I probably will I will get the game, and I'll review the DLC. I'm not completely done with The Witcher yet. In fact, I really hope I didn't delete my save file. All in all, The Witcher was at times a very painful experience. It was a very frustrating experience. But in the end, I don't regret it. The world building is very good, the characters are very good, but it is just a horrendous RPG. This final score feels too nice, it feels generous, but it's what I'm sticking with, and it's what I think the game deserves. The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, final verdict, 6 out of 10. Thank you for watching. I'm Wesley Tomsky. Like, share, subscribe, and comment if you'd like to join the crusade against everything evil. Because with God on our side. If you'd like to join the crusade because with God, that's like grammatically incorrect.